Welcome to Instant Deck Techs. The aim of this series is to give you a short, concise guide on how to build a certain deck. It won't cover every card, but we'll go through all the categories and go over the types of cards needed to make the deck work. Any card mentioned will be down in the description below. The commander of this deck is Hamza, Guardian of Arashin. It is a 5/5 legendary creature elephant warrior. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a ++1 counter on it, and creature spells you control cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with a ++1 counter on it. The aim of this deck is to get loads of creatures out, and then put a +1/+1 counter on them. This will make Hamza cheaper, and then in turn will make the rest of our creatures we play cheaper. We want to run at least 8 effects that will put +1/+1 counters on all of our creatures. The repeatable ones on creatures will generally be better where possible. These options are less repeatable, but are still worth considering, and should mostly be more budget options than the previous section. Once the counters are on our creatures, by running cards that let us proliferate, like these, we can make our creatures grow into threats. In a budget build, I would run all 5 of these. You can also look at running cards that give you extra counters when a counter is placed on a permanent you control. These mentioned here are all pretty good, but some aren't as budget as others. I'd look to run between 4 and 8 over both types of effects, and generally speaking, splitting them between the two will be very good as they work very well with each other. For the ramp in this deck, we want to play a lot of mana dorks. These will ramp us early, and if we can put a +1/+1 counter on them, they will ramp us again with Hamza's cost reduction. There are some other great ramp that synergizes with the +1/+1 counters. Even though our commander will help us ramp some creatures, I would still want to run at least 8 bits of dedicated ramp in the deck. We want to run 8 bits of card draw. Look for spells that synergize with the +1/+1 counter theme, or the go wide theme of the deck, but also cards like Harmonize are just good. For removal, as we have access to white, we have some of the most efficient bits available to us. I would mix this efficient removal with some that synergizes with the deck. Look for effects that makes tokens when things are destroyed, or can help fix our mana. We want about 8 bits in total, so 4 efficient, 4 synergistic should work well. These spells here might not be the most efficient in their category, but they will synergize very well with the deck, and they are also very good budget options. There are a few creatures that give our team a bonus effect if they have a +1/+1 counter on them. Absent Falconer is amazing and gives all our team flying. You can play any of these before combat, and then the swing with our team will have all the effects that they are given. I would at least run Absent Falconer, but you can run any number of these effects in the deck. We want to run between 4 and 8 token makers in the deck. The ones that synergize with counters will be a little better, but we're really looking to get a board state as quickly as possible with this deck. Run more of these if you're not running the colourless hitters, which we'll get to a little later. Hooded Hydra, Hangerback Walker, and Mikaeus are especially good in this deck, as they synergize with counters and the go-wide strategy. You can run some protection style effects in the deck. Most of these aren't too budget, I'm afraid, but Basri's Lieutenant is, and will make our opponents think twice before board wiping. For some win conditions, in a counters deck like this, these 2 cards will get out of hand very quickly. Colonial Hydra will swole our whole team, and Champion of Lambert will soon make everything unblockable. Also, I love Harmonious Archon in this deck. All our creatures will have counters on them, so all of our creatures will end up being bigger than our opponents. If they don't answer this card, then we will win very quickly. With the cost reduction of our commander, it can make playing colourless creatures free. Ones that synergize with counters and a go-wide deck will generally be better, but there's nothing stopping you playing your favourite Eldrazi. Run more of these if you're running less token makers. There are some good utility lands that care about counters. Look for effects that can put them onto our creatures, or buff up the ones that already have them. The rest of the mana base will be dependent on your budget. Look out for a video soon on this channel covering budget commander mana bases. There are some other very good cards that can go in this deck, but a lot of them aren't budget, I'm afraid. If you have these cards already, then play them, but if you don't have them, there are already cards listed above which will do very similar effects. Proliferate and Hamza's cost reduction ability will do a lot of work in this deck anyway, so you won't be short on power without these cards. There are also a number of combos available in green and white that involve +1/+1 counters. Details of how these work will be down in the description below. If you're going to run these, cut some of the card draw and replace them with some creature tutors instead. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and let us know down below if there's any decks you would like to see a deck tech on.